I am Mark, virtual teacher instructor at Egnatia Career College. I will be teaching understanding construction drawings and try to make it a pleasant experience for you. Let's start with video number 1. The design construction sequence and the design professions. After completing this unit, you will be able to perform the following tasks. Name the professions included in the design and planning of a house or light commercial building. List the major functions of each of these professions in the design and planning process. Identify the profession or agency that should be contacted for specific information about a building under construction. The construction industry is made up of light construction, small buildings, and heavy construction, large buildings, roadways, bridges, industrial installations, etc. The industry can also be divided into the following 4 classifications: residential, commercial, industrial, and civil. Residential construction includes single-family homes, small apartment buildings, and condominiums. Commercial construction includes office buildings, hotels, stores, shopping centers, and other large buildings. Industrial construction includes structures other than buildings, such as refineries and paper mills, that are built for industry. The design process. The design process starts with the owner. The owner contacts an architect to help plan the building. The architect makes rough sketches to describe the planned building. Eventually, the design of the building begins to take shape. Design should comply with building codes. The local building code is administered by a building department of the local government. A building permit is required before construction begins. The building permit notifies the building department about planned construction. Then, the building department can make sure that the building complies with all the local zoning laws and building codes. When the building department approves the completed construction, it issues a certificate of occupancy. This certificate is not issued until the building department is satisfied that the construction has been completed according to the local code. The certificate of occupancy is usually issued after a final inspection by the building inspector. The owner is not permitted to move into the new building until the certificate of occupancy has been issued. Starting construction. After the architect and the owner decide on a final design, the owner obtains financing. The most common way of financing a home is through a mortgage, line of credit, or construction loan. When financing has been arranged, a contractor is hired. Usually, a general contractor. The general contractor in turn hires subcontractors to complete certain parts of the project. All stages of construction may be subcontracted. Views. After completing this unit, you will be able to perform the following tasks. Recognize oblique, isometric, and orthographic drawings. Draw simple isometric sketches. Identify plan views, elevations, and sections. Isometric drawing. In an isometric drawing, vertical lines are drawn vertically, and horizontal lines are drawn at an angle of 30 degrees from horizontal. Isometric drawings tend to look out of proportion because we are used to seeing the object appear smaller as it gets farther away. Isometric drawings are often used to show plumbing layout. Other isometric shapes can be sketched by adding to or subtracting from this basic isometric brick. Angled surfaces are sketched by locating their edges and then connecting them. Oblique drawings. In oblique drawings, the most irregular surface is drawn in proportion as though it were flat against the drawing surface. Parallel lines are added to show the depth. Orthographic projection. Orthographic projection is most often explained by imagining the object to be drawn inside a glass box. If the box is unfolded, the images projected onto its sides will be on a single plane, as on a sheet of paper. All surfaces that are parallel to the plane of projection, the surface of the box, are shown in proportion to their actual size and shape. However, surfaces that are not parallel to the plane of projection are not shown in proportion. For example, both of the roofs in the top views appear to be the same size and shape, but they are quite different. To find the actual shape of the roof, you must look at the end view. In construction drawings, the views are called plans and elevations. A plan view shows the layout of the object as viewed from above. A set of drawings for a building usually includes plan views of the site, lot, the floor layout, and the foundation. Elevations are drawings that show height. For example, a drawing that shows what would be seen standing in front of a house is a building elevation. Elevations are also used to show cabinets and interior features. Section views. Because not all features of construction can be seen in plan views and elevations from the outside of a building, many construction drawings are section views. A section view, usually referred to simply as a section, shows what would be exposed if a cut were made through the object. Actually, a floor plan is a type of section view. It is called a plan because it is in that position viewed from above, but it is a type of section because it shows what would be exposed if a cut were made through the building. Most section views are called sections, but floor plans are customarily referred to as plans or floor plans. Scales. After completing this unit, you will be able to perform the following tasks. Identify the scale used on a construction drawing. Read an architect's scale. Scale drawings. Because construction projects are too large to be drawn full size on a sheet of paper, everything must be drawn proportionally smaller than it really is. This is called drawing to scale. For example, a 1/4 inch on the drawing represents 1 foot on the actual building. The scale to which a drawing is made is noted on the drawing. The scale is usually indicated alongside or beneath the title of the view. Alphabet of lines. After completing this unit, you will be able to identify and understand the meaning of the listed lines. Object lines. Dashed lines, hidden and phantom. Extension lines and dimension lines. Center lines. Leaders. Cutting plane lines. The basis for any language is its alphabet. The English language uses an alphabet made up of 26 letters. Construction drawings use an alphabet of lines. The weight or thickness of lines is sometimes varied to show their relative importance. This difference in line weight sometimes helps distinguish the basic shape of an object from surface details. Object lines are used to show the shape of an object. All visible edges are represented by object lines. Drawings usually include many solid lines that are not object lines. Dashed lines. Dashed lines have more than one purpose in construction drawings. One type of dashed line, the hidden line, is used to show the edges of objects that would not otherwise be visible in the view shown. Hidden lines are drawn as a series of evenly sized short dashes. If a construction drawing were to include hidden lines for all concealed edges, the drawing would be cluttered and hard to read. Therefore, only the most important features are shown by hidden lines. Another type of dashed line is used to show important overhead construction. These dashed lines are called phantom lines. The objects they show are not hidden in the view, they are simply not in the view. For example, the most practical way to show exposed beams on a living room ceiling may be to show them on the floor plan with phantom lines. Phantom lines are also used to show alternate positions of objects. To avoid confusion, the dashed lines may be made up of different weights and different length dashes, depending on the purpose. Extension lines and dimension lines. Extension lines are thin, solid lines that project from an object to show the extent or limits of a dimension. Extension lines do not quite touch the object they indicate. Dimension lines are solid lines of the same weight as extension lines. A dimension line is drawn from one extension line to the next. The dimension, distance between the extension lines, is lettered above the dimension line. On construction drawings, dimensions are expressed in feet and inches. The ends of dimension lines are drawn in one of 3 ways. Dimensions that can be added together to come up with one overall dimension are called chain dimensions. Center lines. Center lines are made up of long and short dashes. They are used to show the centers of round or cylindrical objects. Center lines are also used to indicate that an object is symmetrical, or the same on both sides of the center. To show the center of a round object, two center lines are used, so that the short dashes cross in the center. To lay out an arc or part of a circle, the radius must be known. The radius of an arc is the distance from the center to the edge of the arc. On construction drawings, the center of an arc is shown by crossing center lines. The radius is dimensioned on a thin line from the center to the edge of the arc. Rather than clutter the drawing with unnecessary lines, only the short, crossing dashes of the center lines are shown. If the center lines are needed to dimension the location of the center, only the needed center lines are extended. Leaders. Some construction details are too small to allow enough room for clear dimensioning by the methods described earlier. To overcome this problem, the dimension is shown in a clear area of the drawing. A thin line called a leader shows where the dimension belongs. Cutting plane lines. It was established earlier that section views are needed to show interior detail. In order to show where the imaginary cut was made, a cutting plane line is drawn on the view through which the cut was made. A cutting plane line is usually a heavy line with long dashes and pairs of short dashes. Some drafters, however, use a solid, heavy line. In either case, cutting plane lines always have some identification at their ends and arrowheads to indicate the direction from which the section is viewed. Cutting plane line identification symbols are discussed in the next unit. Some section views may not be referenced by a cutting plane line on any other view. These are typical sections that would be the same if drawn from an imaginary cut in any part of the building. Use of symbols. After completing this unit, you will be able to identify and understand the meaning of the listed symbols. Door and window symbols. Materials symbols. Electrical and mechanical symbols. Reference marks for coordinating drawings. Abbreviations. Door and window symbols. Door and window symbols show the type of door or window used and the direction the door or window opens. There are three basic ways for household doors to open: swing, slide, or fold. Within each of these basic types there are variations that can be readily understood from their symbols. The direction a swing-type door opens is shown by an arc representing the path of the door. There are 7 basic types of windows. They are named according to how they open. The symbols for hinged windows, awning, casement, and hopper indicate the direction they open. In elevation, the symbols include dashed lines that come to a point at the hinged side, as viewed from the exterior. Sizes of windows. The sizes of windows and doors are usually shown on a special window schedule or door schedule, but they might also be indicated by notes on the plans near their symbols. Door and window schedules are explained later. The notations of size show width first and height second. Manufacturers usually list several sets of dimensions for every window model. The glass size indicates the area that will actually allow light to pass. The rough opening size is important for the carpenter, who will frame the wall into which the window will be installed. The masonry opening is important to masons. The notations on plans and schedules usually indicate nominal dimensions. A nominal dimension is an approximate size and may not represent any of the actual dimensions of the unit. Nominal dimensions are usually rounded off to whole inches or feet and inches, and are used only as a convenient way to refer to the window or door size. The actual dimensions should be obtained from the manufacturer before construction begins. Material symbols. The drawing of an object shows its shape and location. The outline of the drawing may be filled in with a material symbol to show what the object is made of. Many materials are represented by one symbol in elevations and another symbol in sections. Examples of such symbols are concrete block and brick. Other materials look pretty much the same when viewed from any direction, so their symbols are drawn the same in sections and elevations. When a large area is made up of one material, it is common to only draw the symbol in a part of the area. Some drafters simplify this even further by using a note to indicate what material is used and omitting the symbol altogether. Electrical and mechanical symbols. The electrical and mechanical systems in a building include wiring, electrical devices, piping, pipe fittings, plumbing fixtures, registers, and heating and air conditioning ducts. It is not practical to draw these items as they would actually appear, so standard symbols have been devised to indicate them. The electrical system in a house includes wiring as well as devices such as switches, receptacles, light fixtures, and appliances. Wiring is indicated by lines that show how devices are connected. These lines are not shown in their actual position. They simply indicate which switches control which lights, for example. Outlets, receptacles, and switches are usually shown in their approximate positions. Major fixtures and appliances are shown in their actual positions. Mechanical systems, plumbing and HVAC, heating, ventilating, and air conditioning, are not usually shown in much detail on drawings for single-family homes. However, some of the most important features may be shown. Piping is shown by lines. Different types of lines represent different kinds of piping. Symbols for pipe fittings are the same basic shape as the fittings they represent. A short line, or hash mark, represents the joint between the pipe and the fitting. Plumbing fixtures are drawn pretty much as the actual fixture appears. Reference marks. A set of drawings for a complex building may include several sheets of section and detail drawings. These sections and details do not have much meaning without some way of knowing what part of the building they are meant to show. Callouts, called reference marks, on plans and elevations indicate where details or sections of important features have been drawn. To be able to use these reference marks for coordinating drawings, you must first understand the numbering system used on the drawings. The simplest numbering system for drawings consists of numbering the drawing sheets and naming each of the views. For example, Sheet 1 might include a site plan and foundation plan. Sheet 2, floor plans. And Sheet 3, elevations. Because most of the drawings for a single-family home are architectural, and the drawing set is fairly small, letters indicating the type of drawing may not be included. Instead, the views are numbered, and a second number shows on which sheet it appears. Numbering each view and the sheet on which it appears makes it easy to reference a section or detail to another drawing. The identification of a section view is given with the cutting plane line showing where it is taken from. This numbering system is also used for details that cannot be located by a cutting plane line. The drawing number 4 is a typical wall section, meaning that it is typical of a section view of any outside wall. This typical wall section includes a callout referencing a detailed drawing of the roof cornice or eave. The cornice detail is drawing 4 on sheet A4 and is shown in figure 5. Notice that the detail faces the opposite direction from the typical wall section. That is because, being a typical section, not a specific section, it represents all exterior walls regardless of the direction they face. Abbreviations. Drawings for construction include many notes and labels of parts. These notes and labels are usually abbreviated as much as possible to avoid crowding the drawing. The abbreviations used on drawings are usually a shortened form of the word and are easily understood. For example, building stands for building.